Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a spooky story with the Johnson family. Join us as they uncover scary secrets in their new home. Get ready for a thrill ride of mystery and suspense. The Johnson family had just moved into their new house in the quiet suburb of Willow Creek. It was a beautiful two-story home with a perfectly manicured lawn and a white picket fence. The neighborhood was filled with families, and the streets were lined with trees and flowers. It seemed like the perfect place to raise their two children, Emily and Michael. Stepping inside for the first time, the cool air of the house contrasted the summer heat they just escaped. Sunlight streamed through the large bay windows in the living room, illuminating the gleaming hardwood floors. The scent of fresh paint mingled with the faint, pleasant aroma of aged wood, a unique signature of a house with a history. Emily and Michael gasped in delight at the grand staircase that curved gracefully upwards, its polished banister begging to be slid down. Exploring further, they discovered a cozy fireplace in the family room, perfect for winter nights curled up with a good book. The kitchen boasted ample counter space and stainless steel appliances, a dream for any home cook. Upstairs, the bedrooms were spacious and bright, each with ample closet space. Peeking through a dusty window in the attic, they glimpsed the sprawling backyard, a blank canvas waiting for their dreams of picnics, barbecues, and endless games of tag. The Johnsons knew, deep down, that they had found a place to call home, a place where memories would be built and laughter would echo through the halls. As they unpacked their belongings, the Johnsons couldn't help but feel excited about their new life in Willow Creek. They had left the busy city behind and were ready for a fresh start in this peaceful town. However, their excitement was short-lived when strange things began to happen. It all started on their first night in the house. As the family settled into their beds, they heard strange noises coming from the attic. It sounded like someone was walking around up there, but when Mr. Johnson went to investigate, he found nothing. He brushed it off as an old house settling, and they all went back to bed. Unease prickled at the edges of their consciousness. The silence of the old house, broken only by the creaks and groans of settling wood, felt heavy and oppressive. The seemingly innocent sounds took on a sinister quality in the darkness. Every rustle of leaves outside the window sent shivers down their spines. Sleep, when it finally came, was filled with fragmented dreams of shadowy figures and disembodied whispers. The following morning, a cold dread lingered in the air, a stark contrast to the bright sunshine streaming through the windows. The Johnsons exchanged worried glances, the unspoken question hanging heavy between them. Was it just their imaginations, or was something truly amiss in their new home? The next morning, Mrs. Johnson went to the mailbox to collect the mail. As she was flipping through the letters, she found a strange envelope with no return address. Inside was a handwritten note that read, "Welcome to your new home. I hope you enjoy the surprises that await you." Mrs. Johnson was creeped out by the message, but she shrugged it off, thinking it was probably just a prank from one of the neighborhood kids. But as the days went by, more strange things started to happen. The Johnsons' dog, Max, would often bark at the attic door for no reason. Emily and Michael claimed to have seen a shadowy figure standing in the corner of their room at night. And Mrs. Johnson found another cryptic note in the mailbox, this time with a picture of their house and the words, "I'm watching you." The family couldn't ignore it any longer. They knew something was not right in their new home. They decided to do some investigating of their own. Mr. Johnson went to the town's historical society to see if he could find any information about the previous owners of the house. He discovered that the previous owners, the Smiths, had died in a car accident a few years ago. But what was strange was that there were no records of their son, John Smith, who was supposed to have inherited the house. Mrs. Johnson, on the other hand, decided to talk to their next-door neighbor, Mrs. Wilson. She was an elderly woman who had lived in the neighborhood for over 50 years. Mrs. Wilson seemed friendly enough, But as soon as Mrs. Johnson mentioned the Smiths, her demeanor changed. She told Mrs. Johnson to be careful and that the Smiths were not what they seemed. She refused to say anything more and quickly shut the door. The Johnsons were now more determined than ever to uncover the mystery behind their new home. They decided to check out the attic, which had been locked since they moved in. As they opened the door, they were hit with a musty smell and saw that the attic was filled with old furniture and boxes. As they rummaged through the boxes, they found old newspaper clippings about the Smiths. They were shocked to discover that the Smiths were not a happy family as everyone thought. In fact, John Smith had been arrested for the murder of his parents and was currently serving a life sentence in prison. The Johnsons couldn't believe what they were reading. How could they have not known about this? They quickly realized that the strange occurrences in their house were connected to the Smiths and their dark past. But they still couldn't figure out who was behind it all. Their answer came in the form of a letter that was slipped under their door the next morning. It was from John Smith himself. In the letter, he confessed to being the one behind all the strange events. He was seeking revenge on the people who now lived in his family's home. He had been planning it for years, waiting for the perfect family to move in. The Johnsons were terrified. They had no idea how to deal with a convicted murderer who lived just a few streets away from them. They went to the police and showed them the letter. The police were able to track down John Smith, and he was arrested for stalking and harassment. With the truth finally revealed, the Johnsons could finally relax and enjoy their new home. They were grateful for their nosy dog, Max, who had sniffed out the truth, and for Mrs. Wilson, who had given them a warning about the Smiths. As they sat in their backyard, watching their children play, they couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. They had thought they were moving to the perfect suburb, but now they knew that even the quietest of neighborhoods could hide dark secrets. From that day on, they always made sure to do their research before moving into a new home. Thanks for watching our spooky adventure. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe for more creepy tales. See you next time for more fun and excitement. Bye for now.